Matthew chapter 8. When he had come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, a leopard came and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Then Jesus put out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. Immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said to him, see that you tell no one, but go your way. Show yourself to the priests and offer the gift that Moses commanded as a testimony to them. Now when Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him pleading with him, saying, Lord, my servant is lying at home paralyzed, dreadfully tormented. And Jesus said, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only speak a word and my servant will be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. I say to this one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes. And to my servant, do this, and he does it. And when Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to those who followed, assuredly, I say to you, I have not found such a great faith, not even in Israel. And I say to you that many will come from the east and the west and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into utter darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then Jesus said to the centurion, go your way, and as you have believed, so let it be done for you. And his servant was healed in that same hour. So, breaking this thing down, he's coming off the mountain after the Sermon on the Mount. And then we see that the I can see here that the physical leprosy, it's just done away with. There's other gospels, without getting just way out there, hour-long video. There's other gospels that also discuss this. Quick, a quick Google search would find the others. But in this particular one, it's real early in the morning. It's one of them just where you just wake up in the night. When the centurion comes to him, we see that he's not even asking for himself, he's asking for his servant. So he's just got a guy working for him at his house, man. And he said, this homeboy's dreadfully tormented. And, I don't know if Jesus is just asking to hear this guy talk and give us example, because he knows everything, but he immediately says, yeah, I'll go over and help him out, type of deal. So there's at a minimum the implication that Jesus is used to having to go and physically be there and say and do things in the moment to bring about these miracles. And the centurion's the one that brings this up. That's the key in this. The centurion is the champion of faith. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only speak a word, that my servant would be healed. And then the centurion explains to Jesus. Could you imagine standing there explaining to Jesus, look, Jesus, it ain't necessary. I'm not worthy of you. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not worthy that you should come under my roof. I'm not worthy that for you to come be in my presence or come to my house. Just say he's healed. That's good enough. We see that the centurion then proceeds to explain authority to Jesus. I say go, and he goes. I say come here, and he comes here, do this, and he does that. So the faith of the centurion is brought about through his daily interactions at work. And his work is to be a Roman soldier, which includes a lot of discipline. So we can see that through discipline, we can build our faith. So as we develop discipline and become a disciple of God, what does that even look like? You know what I mean? I did not see Jesus put the disciples through basic training. I did not see that in the way that I think of basic training in the U.S. military, any branch. But they ate together, they camped, they walked everywhere, they were work etists. So it doesn't come right out and say it, but if you're living the life of the year zero, walking around with your hero, and he's guiding your steps, imagining what basic training would be like, and then seeing the difference. How can I walk the way that the disciples walked following Jesus and basically train the discipline? There's the key to the to ending sin right there. Where I have a man under authority, having soldiers under me, I say to this one, go, and he goes. I say to another one, come, and he comes. Do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard, he marveled. Define the word marveled. Oh, come on, you silly thing. Very interesting verb. Marveled, past tense. Be filled with wonder or astonishment. I hate that shit. I hate it. Man, you look for the meaning of a word and all it does is give you some other word that's not basic. What does the Webster Dictionary from 1998 say that the word marveled means? Noun, one that causes wonder or astonishment. Verb, to become filled with surprise, wonder, or amazed curiosity. Verb transitive, to feel astonishment or perplexed at or about. Marveled or marveled, marveling or marveled. It was often used in context describing admiring surprise or a wonderful thing. There you go. I tell you right now, you really gotta search, man. The things of God have to be sought after. You gotta want it. It was often used in context describing admiring surprise or a wonderful thing. So, go buy you a 1998 Webster's Dictionary for sure. The 10th edition of Webster. That way you can actually get a definition, not some BS. When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to those who followed, "Assuredly, I say to you, I have not found such a great faith even in Israel, and I say to you that many will come from east and west and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven." This is a big deal. You need to wrap your head around this. When the centurion explained that he was not worthy, it's because he believed that Jesus actually was God himself in the form of a man. And he said, he was not doubting himself specifically. He was specifically saying that the stature in his priority system, this man of authority, this man of rank and honor, of discipline, of a Roman centurion, placed Jesus at such a high stature in his personal life, in his personal priority system, in the way he saw it. You know what I mean? You by God see it one way or another. And you got to get all foghorn leghorn. Jesus is Lord. Jesus is Lord. Jesus, Yeshua, is Yahweh in the flesh. The words of this Bible became flesh. That's who I'm talking to. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The creator of everything. I'm not worthy for him to show up, but he does. I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only speak a word to my servant, and he will be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. I say to this one, go, and he goes. And another one, come, and he comes. And to my servant, do this, and he does it. Okay, these other soldiers underneath this dude, he's got rank over him, so he understands rank. He knows who he is. But the other soldiers have been taught who they are and how they should be. It's not just a decision that they just figured it out. It's not that. They are walking under the authority. They're obeying orders. They understand what orders are. They understand the importance. Whether it's carrot or stick, doesn't matter. They're following orders. And then they've done it for a while, so it makes sense. They've run the drills. It's been drilled into them to operate in a certain manner, which is follow orders to the letter. Go over there. Come over here. Do it like this. And when Jesus heard it, when he heard that, when he understood that discipline right there like that, when he seen that, he marveled. admiring surprise were a wonderful thing. What did his face look like? What would you're standing there talking to Jesus, and you say something to Jesus so profound. You know, that woman touched the zizio on his coat, the corners of his garment. He got healed. And power left him. So there's touching Jesus, getting him to stop while he's underway. I don't know if you understand what it takes to stop a thing of momentum like a aircraft carrier, freight train. She touched him and he stopped. The centurion approached in a proper manner, esteeming the position of Jesus correctly, and then explained to Jesus what discipline is. So assuredly, this is red letters, assuredly I say to you. Now, can we pump the brakes right there? Jesus said, assuredly, I say to you. Assuredly. I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. You know, there's well done, good and faithful servant, and all this kind of stuff like that, you know, and we've heard it so much, it kind of, the real meaning just flies right over our heads. But this centurion guy, this looks like something we could do, bro. And this looks like something we could handle. I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. This is just a ranking officer. And you know, today, like, if you go to college and then go to the military, that's a thing. And then if you didn't go to college, you know, you start out a grunt or whatever. Okay, best of my knowledge, it wasn't like that in Rome. In Rome, everybody's a grunt, and then you move your way up the hard way. And with, you know, they got different ways of saying you've been to school, if you know what I'm saying. And I say to you that now this is the part where people need to really be concerned. You people that think that you're going to heaven and you're arrogant about it. Matthew chapter 8 verse 11. And I say to you that many will come from the east and west and sit down with Abraham, Isaac in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast into outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then Jesus said to the centurion, go your way, and as you have believed, so let it be done for you. And his servant was healed that very hour. So we got the hyper-religious people that just, I mean, they're very to the letter of the law kind of folk. But they are doing these things. They are in a bloodline and all this other kind of stuff like that. And they've read it, so they're in a certain way that compromises them. They don't lose because they're following the Torah too good. It's because they're following the Torah and they get arrogant. That's the problem. That's why they say, Lord, Lord, didn't we do this, that, and the other? And he's like, I never knew you, bro. Get out of here with your bullshit. So we gotta observe the boundaries. We gotta observe the right and wrong and all of it and everything like that. But we got to keep this. I'm not worthy that you should come under my roof. You know what I mean? We got to keep that. You need to guard that, and you cannot let your heart wax cold because you see so much bullshit and lies in the media. If you're seeing the reality and you're hearing these things about your reality to the point where you have lost your shalom, then you got to kill that. The way I get over sin is I kill it. I don't play with it. The only the sins I play with, everything I don't kill. Cigarettes, sugar. I still flirt with sugar. I put sugar in my coffee. I drink drinks that's got sugar in it. I eat candy bars and stuff. You know what I mean? Does that mean I'm going to hell for eating the Snickers? Kind of doubt that. That seems a little out of line, to be honest with you. No. However, I'm healed by the stripes of Jesus. Jesus said, go your way as you have believed. Let it be done to you. As you have believed, let that be done to you. Where is your mind set? Where is your mind set? Okay? The most profitable thing of my entire life is I thought I was nobody at the end of the last dirt road. I did, through horrific tragedy and being beat down my entire life. The world had reinforced the fact that I am nobody coming from the end of the last dirt road. Then through reading the Bible, I see that these nobodies, they do these great and wonderful things. And they live shitty lives. But I read stories about what they did in the Bible. I mean, John the Baptist didn't have a Ferrari. Solomon had a pretty significantly amazing level of wealth, wisdom, and income, and all this kind of stuff like that. Pretty tragic life, honestly, when you think about it, with all the women and the, more money, more problems. You know what I mean? Like, but he did get to build the house of God. So if we're going to have Solomon level of wealth and income, you better have Solomon level of Ecclesiastes. You're going to get there for sure. You need, if you find yourself in that position where you're just knocking it out of the box to the point that you're just somebody and you got some hang-ups and you've been led astray and you don't know who to trust, going into Ecclesiastes, I mean you could actually not even be rich and find yourself in that position, just being in a bad marriage, or 700 bad marriages and 1,000 concubines and 666 talents of bushel baskets of gold, or whatever it was Solomon had, and all that stuff that he went through and everything. Man, but this Centurion, it doesn't say what he'd been through or anything else like that, because he's a nobody. Nobody had enough faith to Assuredly, I say to you, I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to those who followed. So here's Jesus. He just walked along here, talks to this old boy, turns around to the disciples, and is like, yo, I haven't found such a great faith in all of Israel. Proceeds to explain to the disciples and all of us what this old boy's doing versus these other people that are going to burn in hell. This ain't just salvation. This is making your mark. This is providing to the utmost. This is how you do it. This is how the people will walk with acts of valor in the last times. And this is some of the stuff that the Big C Christians touch on that you'll rarely ever find. I don't want to bust anybody's feet on this deal. I started to say step on toes, but there's a prison thing about busting your feet. And yeah, I'm talking about run over the bridge of your foot with a semi truck. Not just offended, the shit hurts bad, leaves you not standing, but you get over it and heal up. There's a position that we get put in when we follow the law that's intentional from God. It's intentional. He put it there for the purposes of glory and to humble those who will not give him the proper glory. Because absolute power corrupts absolutely everyone is the principle. The principality that we are warring against via humility. So when we see these old boys that are like, surely not, I've never eaten anything unclean, and they're perplexed at the vision of just the food coming down. Go kill and eat. No. Go kill and eat. No. Go kill and eat. No. They're saying no because the Torah that they were observing, that they were actually trying to do, not just looking at. That's the difference, man. That's where the line is. Do you put your faith in, I'm walking this out and I know right from wrong and I'm doing the best that I can? Cool. But I can't keep the law. I can't actually do these things. So, there's a lot of them that think that they can't. Oh, well, I did this. I ain't as bad as him. And just over and over and over and over. You keep seeing these people that are bound up. And then you'll see this other stuff where Paul's looking at it and he's like, when I see this, I do. I'm screwed, right? And then even Jesus' brother James at the council in Jerusalem, when they're trying to figure out, hey, look, we're going to go talk to these Gentiles. He's like, what do we do now that the Gentiles are receiving the Holy Ghost? They have been set apart for God. What do we do with this? How do we go about this? And the conclusion that they came to, according to the Bible, best I can figure, don't eat anything sacrificed to idols, and don't drink blood. Place no further burden upon them. Well, you get all lazy when you hear that and be like, well, super grace, puppies and kittens, God is love, and just go off the frickin' rails with it. Or you can change your name to, Obadiah and frickin', walk around in camel's hair, eat, locusts and honey, you know what I mean? And just try to put yourself out there. Oh, look at how Look at how prophetic I am. Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why people do that. Like, I buy white t-shirts because it's $27 in 2026 for 10 white t-shirts. You want to know how I know? Because freaking white t-shirts. I don't like doing laundry. I'm not trying to. I'm not. What part of this says fashion statement? Or like, anyways, I'm here to tell you to read the word and let the word be your teacher. Period. Full stop, end the story. You are not living up to your faith potential. Okay, so in the jail we got this thing called a LOP, a lack of potential. You are not suffering from that. That's not your problem. Living up to your potential is your problem. And you can tell when you're going through these heights and these lows and all this kind of stuff like that. This is seasonal. You know what I mean? You're going through a training. The earth is a proving ground for your faith. Okay? When you're in the yonder and the worlds that are under your control, and you have to manage that situation. I mean, think about your first lemon stand and then think about where you're at today. Dealing with bringing in the money and all that you got to do for your boss, managing all that, being a dad, on and on and on. We've all got 13 hats. Well, these are not easy. These are not easy. These are training. And in the last days, they'll lie to you so much. Just lie after lie after lie after lie. And then you got to be convinced. They just got to get you to doubt. They just got to get you to doubt. Like, I seen a thing on there. The guy was talking about freaking, Trump and Epstein's hanging out or whatever. They got this chick over there. And they're like, hinting around that this chick is available or whatever, right? Of course, the name and everything's redacted. But it says right on there that Trump was under the impression that she was 22 years old. And then there's like 5 or 6 places, but they didn't say that. I read that on the paper. You know what I mean? Like, I see the thing and I was like, what is this? And I clicked on it, because I want to see what the enemy's trying to put out there. You know what I mean? I want to see what the enemy's trying to put out there. Like what's everybody so pissed off about? I give that about a 0.2%, probably 0.2% of my attention. I don't want to pay attention to the bullshit. Whether they're my friend or foe, I'm supposed to pray for them. So I don't give a care what they have done. That's between them and God. I am not God. Now, presented the day and opportunity and tasked with judging the fallen angels in yonder, I will deal with when I get there. What we're doing today, we're driving the truck today. We are getting up at 3 a.m. and making videos to help the kinfolk have a more stable footing in the Word. That's what we are doing today. And when I say we, well, you're watching this, ain't you? I'm talking about you and me. Holy Ghost. You got the Bible right here. Right here, Jesus. Right here, Jesus. This guy right here that became flesh. Oui, mon chéri. I don't know what that means. Anyways, I'm supposed to pray for these people either way. Okay, so another benefit of prison, another benefit. Let me give you the benefits of prison without the hassle of, doing life on the installment plan. The law is a lack of potential. So a lot of stuff that gets said, like I had this guy one time. He's all bad. He's like, "You're a skinner," and blah blah this and that. Well, hell, I didn't know what a skinner was, but he said I hadn't been locked up very long, and there was like a situation, whatever, because he was a convict and I was a new guy on that yard. That commanded a certain respect that he was standing up for, or whatever else like that. However, the way he went about it was bad, because he went and talked to the guard about switching racks, because the dude couldn't sleep at night. He was actually a good dude, but because they didn't ask me, which if they'd asked me, I'd be like, yeah, hell, I don't give a shit. They assumed that, and then they went and talked to the police and moved my shit from my rack to a different rack, and then moved him in. So I came in and I was like, no, fuck that. Which I had to do, or I'm a bitch. So, like, hey, well, I might be a skinner, but you put your fucking self in that situation, bro. And dude totally could have just destroyed me. Totally. The guy, when you hear the phrase rip your arm off and beat you with it, he could have. He routinely, like they had that back in the day, they had the power team. The power team came to church or whatever like that. When they came there, him and two other dudes was up there with the power team after the fact or whatever, and they were showing how they would grab the phone books and rip them real slow, and this guy grabbed the phone book and just ripped it in one move. He's like, oh yeah, I can do that. And they're like, yeah, oh, can you? And he was like, yeah, and he grabbed it and he ripped it in half with one move. Not sit there and crank it, getting leverage. This dude grabbed a freaking phone book, and ripped it in half. That guy. So yeah, anyway, but you can't look weak, because that's the name of the game. That's the game we're playing. We're playing to win, because losing sucks. And yeah, anyway, I didn't know what a skinner was. I hadn't heard that word before, because I was a new guy. So he was calling me a new guy. It seemed offensive, and he was bad. But I had to stand my ground. And after being in places like that, situations like that, the phrase is lack of potential. So when you were assessing the new guy to whatever degree, you had to figure out if this dude is a pedophile or a rat, because we just ain't gonna put up with that at all. Like, so that is an establishment of boundary, right? Okay, so we see here establishment of boundary, and you need to watch this real close. Assuredly I say to you, I've not found such a great faith, not even in Israel. And I say to you that many will come from the east and west and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. 12b references Matthew 21:43 and Luke 13:28. Luke 13:28. Let's go to Luke 13:28. I really said, well, I'll make it an hour long. Yeah, and here we are. 13 and 28. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether or not he has enough to finish it? Oh, that's 1428. I think I was supposed to read that too. You better count the cost. 13, 23, 28. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and all the prophets of the kingdom of God and yourselves thrust out. They will come from the east and west, from the north and the south, and sit down in the kingdom of God. And indeed, there are last who will be first, and there are first who will be last. On that very day, some Pharisees came, saying to him, "Get out, depart from here, for Herod wants to kill you." And he said to them, "Go tell that fox, behold, I cast out demons, perform cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. Nevertheless, I must journey today, tomorrow, and the day following, for it cannot be that a prophet should perish outside of Jerusalem. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the one who kills the prophets and stones those who were sent to her. How often I wanted to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, but you were not willing. See, your house is left to you desolate, and assuredly I shall say to you, you shall not see me until the time comes when you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." So these people have a lack of potential because they got hung up on, well, I followed the rule book and you did not. And they follow the rule book to their own destruction because of their pride, because of their pomp, because of their perceived stature. There's a guy, he's a Christian guy, and he tells a great story. Goes by the name of Andy Womack. And at one point, he said he walks into his real fancy room and built this giant cabin in Colorado. And when he goes in there, he looks around and he sees mold. And he says to the mold, "Get out of here. You're part of the curse. You're not allowed to be here." And he went on about his business. Time goes by, he comes back, and the mold's gone. He didn't get in a big fuss. He didn't jump up and down. He didn't say that he was part of the lineage of Abraham and all this other stuff. He spoke in his authority to the obvious. Oh, there's mold right there. Mold, you're part of the curse. I'm redeemed from the curse because of what Jesus did. You have to leave. Get out. And he didn't even think twice about it. He didn't even think twice about it. You know, there's a time where we see over and over again, and it's God created men and women different. Your wife is supposed to be up at 3 a.m. praying over and over and over and seeking God. And when you're in a bad situation over something that's profound, and you're dealing with stuff that's got you up at night, deal with it. But you're a man. Kill it. Fucking kill that shit. Just go on, bro. Like, I mean, do what you gotta do. And what you gotta do is seek God. And, you know, what do you want me to do here? And if he's already told you how to do it, freaking do what you already know you're supposed to do. That's what's up. That's where you're at. And you don't have peace because you're not just doing what you know you need to do. And there's plenty of people out there willing to sign up. there's so many people out there that want God and don't know how to get there and everything else like that. They've been lied to so much they don't know, they can't find their ass with both hands in a compass. And when you get back to that by God serious, you know what I mean? You'll see these people, they're so lied to that a good man from a church can't even give them $1 million to go do something. Oh well, I don't want that guy to own me. I don't know if you understand how money works, my friend. If somebody donates money to me, Skip, you give me 100,000. If I say, hey, I'm going to do this thing in the world, and I'm taking donations, and you give me a donation to that thing, I'm going to use that money to go do what the fuck I said I was going to do. And if you want something, some accolades or whatever else like that, you better say that shit up front. And I'll tell you up front, hey, I'm going to use this money to do this thing over here. Now, the next time I see you, I'm going to assume you're a good dude, and you'll probably get a nod, how you doing, you know what I mean? I'll probably smile. But if you think I'm going to compromise in any way, or whatever, if you think you're paying me to do something, you better get that out of your head. If you want to pay me to do something, let's talk about what service I can provide you, sir. But if you're going to donate to me so I can go take care of whatever, I'm going to tell you up front, hey, I'm doing this. This is your chance to donate. If you donate, I'm going to take that money and do that. You might get a smile, a nod. That's it. If you want to pay me for influence, if you want to pay to play, you are beat. I represent the Lord in this matter. I am doing this thing for God Himself. You're not involved whether you donate or not. But since you've chose to donate, thank you. Whatever reward you got coming is now between you and Him. None of my business. Period. Now, you want me to come over and build you a house, wherever else like that, you know, like you got the blueprints. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can still do shit. We can still do shit or whatever. But I ain't a fucking politician, bro. I'm going to tell you straight up front. Straight up front. And just because this person is a part of an organization, Jesus had 12 dudes. One of them motherfuckers had a devil. What's the chance of the Church of Christ donating $100,000 for me to build an orphanage, and one of the Church of Christ being some kind of weirdo? 100%. You know why? Because they ain't no better than Jesus, and there's more than 12 of them. I do not have to be. I'm not a NASCAR. And if I was, it would just say Jesus. Everybody else can go fuck themselves. For all I give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, if God don't tell me to help you, bro, I ain't helping you. You know what I mean? And those are clearly established boundaries up front, like a man. Some of that is, I lean back as I get emotionally charged to my actual native way of talking. Okay, my native way of talking is my natural state, my genuine, is to, it's a little redneck, little Cherokee. It's call a spade a spade. And if you're mad, you like that. If you're not, I hope you're offended and go away. I ain't got time to deal with you. You know what I mean? But if God tells me that I need to walk you through this thing and take some baby steps or whatever like that, and point out how the Centurion, that is not, did no part of that did it say the Centurion's going to hell. But that's way over here. That's today. My servant, my guy. He's got some problems, bro, and I got some need, so I want to approach properly, and I want to make my request genuinely, that allows God. What the centurion did, the centurion took the restraint away from Jesus. The woman that got healed took the restraint away from Jesus. It was not legal for her to touch him. It's not legal. Jesus himself, it goes against legalities for miracles. Miracles, by definition, are going against the laws of physics, time, space, and matter. Okay? Let's get down to brass tacks on this deal. When you're in the frickin' apocalypse and there's a Terminator out there and you go, no. And it's like the son bitch can't even see you. You and your family and everybody has frickin' manna falling from the sky and the Terminators can't see you. And when called upon, you enact these mighty things of valor on the enemy. That's that centurion faith, bro. Of course it's going to carry you into the kingdom. Of course you're going to be in heaven. Of course you're going to be in the new earth. Of course you're going to fulfill your assignment. Of course you're saved. You didn't get there because you read the rule book and boundaries. You overstepped the boundaries. And Jesus fulfilled the law of atonement to get your ass back in line. Now the devil is squirming like a freaking, you know what I mean? Like he's on the hook. He's squirming. He knows the time is short. He's lied to everybody. Got every demon in the world stirred up to action. Oh, it's like this. Oh, it's like that. Oh, it's like this. Oh, it's like that. Did he do this? Did he do that? My computerized device says that so-and-so said or did or whatever. I can't even believe the fucking weatherman. In the 80s, when I was a kid, the joke was you can't believe the weatherman. The weatherman's the only guy that lies to us constantly and keeps his job. What did he use? A freaking Doppler radar trying to predict the future. Okay, if it was the year 20 BC, if there was some guy using a computer to try to predict the future, what would you call that dude? I mean, what is he? Some kind of warlock? I mean, like, bro. No, man. Don't look at that shit. You know, to be a watcher on the wall was a guy that was standing on a solid freaking wall observing to see if the enemy was going to attack. So when you're looking out there, it's like, maybe this, maybe that, 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 maybe this. Oh, you know, you got the freaking Chihuahua, man. Every time that freaking grass moves and the wind is barking. Then you got the pit bull that, you know, I mean, the dude just walks all the way up to the gate and he doesn't even growl. You know, everybody's seen that lazy pit bull that won't do shit. Well, you got to be somewhere in the middle of that. You can't be either one of them. And that puts us directly at sheepdog. I had a few of those in my life. They were not super chill, and they were not yappy little bastard dogs. You needed the little yappy dog, because that son of a bitch is scared of everything. And then you needed that nonchalant pit bull, because you could sick him on the cow, and he'd run out there and grab that cow by the throat and bring down. Sally that was how we harvested the cows, because there was cows in the woods that were just like feral, and because like they get out or whatever like that, and if there's 180 acres backed up against the lake, so you'd go out there, and there would be like a 7-8 year old cow that obviously nobody's taking care of this. There's nobody there, and you're in the woods, you're a kid, got your dog, and it's like, get him. You know what I mean? And then you got to hack off chunks of this cow and carry it on your back to the house, and, you know, smoke some of it, throw some salt on it, you know what I mean? Make a freaking rug out of the skin, you know, have a nice little cow skin vest and stuff like that. You know, ask me how I know. It's so difficult to see that the people don't know how to live, how to actually live. And these people look down on me. These people made me feel like nothing, like I was nobody, because I had crusty feet when it was time to play basketball on your polished floor in your freaking stadium area, gymnasium. Like, you're heating and cooling this polished wood floor, and I'm living in the woods, and you want to talk down to me? Fuck you. And there's a pride in that too. You know what I mean? So you just got to be willing to lay it all down and just be like, you know. So there's all these different trainings. There's all these different trainings. This was not supposed to be an hour-long video, so I apologize for that. I'm going to post this. I just wanted to say there again, don't overlook what people like Andy Womack is saying because it seems hokey. It looks like a hoax to get money. It does. It really does. I'm just going to tell you straight, it does. It sounds like bullshit. But if you look into your life, you will see something along the lines of a miracle somewhere, specific to you or your family or whatever. It's there. That's coming from the unseen realm, and depending on circumstance and everything like that, yeah. So you're going to have to get a little bit more well-rounded for this upcoming season. You know what I mean? If you're going to be freaking Neo and go fight the ancients, you got to realize that the border patrol should be in your brain. Which thoughts am I going to allow? You know? How am I going to see the situation or whatever and not freak the fuck out, not lose my shit? I mean, you might want to go ahead and watch The Matrix this weekend all the way through. You know what I mean? You need to do some, you know, I made a video about Rambo, watching Rambo First Blood and taking notes. And, you know, 3 different types of notes. Is this me? Is this them? You know? And if so, what then? Take notes as you go through the video. Or maybe just talk it out with some friends. You know, a 6-pack of beer and we're coming up on the apocalypse. You know, let's set up the TV out in the barn and, you know, 12 dudes watch First Blood and just pause every now and then and be like, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? What do you think about that? And then just see the difference. Just see the difference. Just the caliber of the people, the vehicles, the differences. What was better then? How could I get that? It's probably cheap. It's old tech. What is better now? You know, maybe I could get some of that. And, you know, then watch this video after you're done playing those games and be like, up next we have the entire Matrix trilogy. Maybe not. Maybe you just want a highlight reel on that deal. I don't think you're gonna have that kind of time. Maybe just have it playing in the background while you're digging holes, putting salt in barrels. That salt's good stuff, man. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you. All right, Rock Hill. Go get them.